Welcome to IE News and to our viewers on IETVTT.com. I am Michael Dume. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, Housing Minister fires back at opposition leader and MP Keith Scotland amid political row. Police complaints authority employee gunned down in targeted Charleville attack. Grand Bazaar maintenance worker shot in early morning car park attack. In our top story, Minister in the Ministry of Housing, Philip Edward Alexander, responded to opposition leader Penelope Beckles as she doubled down on her call for the dismissal of the 3 housing ministers. The minister stressed that the opposition leader is trying to maintain relevance within her own party, and he urged her to focus on the real issues, including the conduct of Senator Faris Alwari.
The opposition leader's fight for relevance within her own party is not our concern, and she needs to stop using us as some sort of sounding board or some sort of distraction. She has bigger fish to fry. She needs to fire Faris Alwari. She needs to explain to Trinidad and Tobago how come Faris Alwari escaped track changes. Is he so big above her that she cannot discipline her own appointed senator? Is it a farce? Is it a fake show? Is the PNM fully in the control of the 1%?
The minister also responded to MP Keith Scotland's statement in which Scotland claimed he had no relationship with former Flavorite chairman Louis Andre Montiel, and also challenged the Prime Minister to make her statements outside of Parliament. The minister dismissed Scotland's remarks, calling them desperate. He emphasized that Scotland is now facing a real legal challenge and urged him not to trivialize the ongoing investigations, which he said are already in the hands of the law and the media.
With regards to Keith Scotland and his foolishness to come outside, it's outside. Keith Scotland must be panicking because he's facing a real lawyer and a real law firm. Anand Ram Logan is not a man that comes into these things to lose. So Keith Scotland knows whatever went wrong with the whole Flavorite representation, with the whole Montai representation, with the whole former treasurer of the PNM representation, with how Flavorite ended up on a preferred list in TNTech, that representation, that has to be bothering Keith Scotland, and I could understand that. But calling for the Prime Minister to come outside, the Prime Minister put this in the hands of the Law Association, in the hands of the Anti-Corruption Investigation Bureau, in the hands of the Fraud Squad, in the hands of the media. How much more outside he wanted to come?
Police have identified the victim in Wednesday's deadly shooting in Charleville as a 38-year-old Saeed Khan, an employee of the Police Complaints Authority. Investigators say Khan of Muhammad Lane, Charleville, was sitting inside his Honda Vezel SUV in the car park of General Accident Insurance Company along Caroni Savannah Road when another vehicle pulled up and blocked his path. A gunman reportedly exited the vehicle, approached Khan and opened fire, striking him multiple times before fleeing the scene. Khan died at the scene before emergency medical personnel could render assistance. Police officers and crime scene investigators processed the scene and are continuing inquiries to establish a motive and identify those responsible for the targeted killing. Police are investigating a shooting at the Grand Bazaar shopping complex after a maintenance employee was wounded in the early morning attack on Thursday. The victim has been identified as 43-year-old Bahadur Puran Singh, who works in the electrical and maintenance department at Grand Bazaar. According to reports, Puran Singh had just parked his vehicle and was walking towards his office when he was approached and shot in the shopping complex's car park. He was rushed to the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex at Mount Hope for treatment. His condition has not been disclosed. Police responded to the scene shortly after the incident and have launched investigations to determine the circumstances surrounding the shooting. No motive has yet been established and inquiries are continuing. We pause for a moment. More news when we come back.
Perfection doesn't happen by chance. Like an artist, the cook selects the main ingredient, one that is worthy of a proud cultural tradition. Trusted to enhance your creations with its richness and versatility. To create a cooking masterpiece, the secret is simple. The brand we know, the brand we trust, the brand our ancestors have been using for generations.
There is only one pure cow brand ghee. Look for the marks of authenticity.
Expressions Limited, as one of the largest importers of tiles, offers an extensive range of high-quality tiles in ceramic, porcelain, granite, stone, and mosaic options. Additionally, we offer a variety of tile accessories and bathroom sets to complement any decor style. We are committed to providing exceptional customer service and swift delivery of all products. From indoor and outdoor tiles to bathroom sets and tile accessories, we have curated a range that caters to both traditional and modern taste. Lampus 13, Ajudha Road, Munro Road, Canopio. Call 223-8453.
Welcome back. Opposition leader Penelope Beckles led a People's National Movement public meeting in Marabella on Tuesday evening, where party supporters gathered under the theme "In Defense of Our Democracy and Freedom." The meeting, held at the Marabella Community Center, attracted supporters from across Trinidad and Tobago and focused on issues including democratic values, citizens' rights, freedom, and the country's future. Beckles, who also serves as political leader of the PNM, received a warm welcome from supporters as she arrived at the venue ahead of the proceedings. Party organizers described the meeting as part of the opposition's continued engagement with the public and said it reflected the PNM's commitment to protecting democratic principles and promoting national unity. Chief Secretary Fali Augustine says the Tobago House of Assembly remains focused on delivering projects that provide measurable benefits to residents, as he defended the THA's record during the fiscal 2026-2027 budget debate. Augustine highlighted several initiatives undertaken over the past 4 years, including the Shaw Park tennis courts and pavilions, the Louis D'Or Agro processing facility, the Pala Touvier fishing depot, the Riseland housing development, and the Affordable Homes program. He also revealed that the THA has paid more than $43.6 million in gratuities and created employment for over 3,000 people during that period. While pointing to those achievements, Augustine stressed that Tobago's long-term prosperity cannot depend solely on government jobs and called for greater investment in other sectors to build a stronger and more sustainable economy. He maintained that public spending must deliver tangible results, stating that every policy should have a purpose, every project a measurable impact, and every dollar spent must produce value for the people of Tobago.
Over 3,000 new employees over the last 4 years. Added to the THA payroll, over 3,000. This is new employment. This is contract, daily rated. Over the last 4 years, over 3,000. Now I know some somewhere are celebrating, because that means employment, it means money in the bank, and all of those good things. But the side of me that did some economic studies will have to question whether this is sustainable. And the reality is that we have to build industries outside of the THA, so the THA is not the only go-to for employment. That a man or a woman must say, well, I could get paid more outside. And that's why we have to invest in the tourism sector. That's why we invested in fixing the airport. We have to invest in fixing rooms. We have to invest in fixing up Store Bay, that in the budget. We have to invest in fixing up Pigeon Point and No Man's Land and our beach houses and Blue Food Ground. We have to create avenues for entrepreneurship. We have to invite investors here to come and build boutique hotels, because we have to create industries outside of the THA.
Steel pan players who participated in the 2026 Panorama competition are set to receive their official remittances after Pan Trinbago secured the funds for distribution. Pan Trinbago President Beverly Ramsey Moore formally received the checks during a brief ceremony on Thursday, marking another step in recognizing the contributions of steel pan musicians to Trinidad and Tobago cultural heritage. The payments will be distributed to eligible performers who took part in this year's Panorama competition rewarding their dedication to preserving and promoting the national instrument. Minister of Culture and Community Development Michelle Benjamin and National Carnival Commission Chairman Peter Kanhai and NCC Commissions attended the presentation. Pan Tobago said the remittances demonstrate its continued commitment to supporting pan players and recognizing their role in keeping the steel pan tradition alive at home and abroad. Trinidad and Tobago is set to assume the chairmanship of the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, or CDEMA Council, from Friday, marking a new chapter in regional disaster preparedness and resilience. Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander will officially take over the role, leading the regional body responsible for coordinating disaster management efforts across the Caribbean. The transition underscores Trinidad and Tobago's commitment to strengthening regional cooperation, enhancing emergency preparedness, and improving collective responses to natural disasters and other emergencies. Officials say the new chairmanship will focus on building stronger partnerships and advancing initiatives aimed at protecting lives, strengthening disaster management systems, and creating a more resilient Caribbean. You're watching IE News. We'll return after these messages.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high-quality bromate-free, all-purpose and whole wheat flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisho Limited at 665-3336 or 480-8715 or visit us at Warrenville, Canoopia. Shiklisho Limited. Quality you can trust.
Swaha Tulsi Manas Mandir of 102 Konapu Southern Main Road, Sangli Grandi, cordially invites you and your family to 3 nights Gyan Yagya from the 27th of June to the 29th of June 2026 from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. daily. Officiating the Paramachar of Swaha, Pandit Haridev Prasad, spiritual leader Pandit Balram Prasad, and Pandit Ishwar Madhu Maharaj, assisted by Pandit Chandradev Dubey and Pandit Tarun Maharaj. Live broadcast on IETV. Are you renewing your motor, homeowner or business insurances shortly? Then call Kalyani Limited, agency for Tatil, for a competitive quote. With 2 locations, Todd Street, El Socorro and 5 Rivers, Aruca. Please call us at 221-5051 or 227-5051. Kalyani Limited, agency for Tatil, building relationships exceeding expectations.
Welcome back. At Trinidad and Tobago basketball star Malik Lewis has made history after being selected by the Milwaukee Bucks in the 2026 NBA draft. Here's more. Lewis was chosen with the 60th and final pick of the draft before his rights were acquired by the Bucks from the Washington Wizards in a 3-team trade. The 6'8" forward, who developed his game in Spain before competing in Australia's National Basketball League, becomes one of only a select group of NBL players to be drafted directly into the NBA. Known for his athleticism and defensive versatility, Lewis now takes the next step in his career as he prepares to join the Bucks organization and pursue his dream of playing at basketball's highest level. The achievement marks a proud moment for Trinidad and Tobago and adds another milestone to the country's growing sporting legacy on the international stage. Let's now take a look at some international news.
This is the terrifying moment 2 massive back-to-back earthquakes struck Venezuela. The strongest to hit the country in a century. A magnitude 7.2 followed 39 seconds later by an even stronger 7.5. Buildings collapsing as panicked residents race for cover. Officials say at least 250 buildings have been damaged. This survivor saying it was like a horror movie. You can hear the fear from passengers on this plane on the tarmac in Caracas. Sections of the airport crumbling into a cloud of dust as travelers scramble to escape. Tonight, there is a desperate race to find survivors underneath mountains of concrete and twisted metal. Rescuers pulling this woman from the debris. She says she held on to her door frame during the quake and watched her friend disappear. Venezuelan TV showing 3 children covered in dust pulled out alive from the rubble. At least 188 people have died and hundreds more are believed to be trapped. Earthquake experts warn the death toll could top 10,000 as families frantically search by flashlight for their loved ones. At least 25,000 are still unaccounted for. American tourist Jason Wang made it out alive. He was about to get into a cable car when the quake struck.
It started to shake, and then I felt the ground shaking a little bit, and then just mass panic. Like everyone was just bolting the door.
Tonight, so many in need. Patients evacuated from a damaged hospital lined up on the street.
There's absolutely going to be big aftershocks. You never get an earthquake this big without many aftershocks.
With its battered infrastructure, Venezuela was already facing a national crisis, making this emergency response even tougher for acting President Delcy Rodriguez. It comes just months after the U.S. raid removed President Nicolas Maduro. The U.S. military and State Department now sending support. And international search teams are now on the way, including this team from LA County Fire Department. In Miami, volunteers with the Global Empowerment Mission are packing up relief supplies.
Less than 24 hours after President Trump declared that the deal with Iran was going well,
Iran is being very nice. They're agreeing to everything that I want.
Today, U.S. officials tell ABC News Iran attacked a cargo ship attempting to cross the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has imposed new conditions forbidding ships from traveling outside of its approved shipping lanes. Maritime security expert Martin Kelly posted audio of a warning he says the Iranian military is issuing to ships attempting to cross the strait.
If any vessel attempts to transit in the strait without our permission, it's responsible for any consequences of any danger.
Just this morning, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that if Iran interferes with shipping traffic, it would be a clear violation of the deal that President Trump signed last week.
If ships are moving as they should be moving, then that's what we're going to judge and that's what we're going to react to. If, on the other hand, this rhetoric is backed up by actual ships being threatened and ships are not moving, that's a violation of the agreement and we're going to have a problem with it.
When we return, your weather update and more, stay tuned.
Introducing Signature Marine Coatings. We bring you premium marine solutions powered by PPG coatings, including anti-fouling protection, high-grade epoxy systems, fiberglass materials, and complete marine refinishing supplies. Protect, enhance, and maximize the performance of your vessel with products you can trust. Get the finish your vessel deserves. We are located at Tardy Marine Limited in Chaguaramas. Call us today at 2900-654 or email at signaturepaints@hotmail.com.
Let's do India and Nepal, a soulful journey across timeless destinations. Delhi, Kathmandu, Varanasi, Ayodhya, Haridwar, Rishikesh, Agra, and Jaipur. August 12th to 28th. Presented by Pandit Omarat. Call 681-3476 to book now. Not just a trip, it's a spiritual and cultural experience.
Welcome back to IE's Major News. Let's take a look at today's weather forecast.
Today was generally warm, partly cloudy and breezy across Trinidad and Tobago, with a mix of sunshine and cloudy periods throughout the day. A few brief showers developed in isolated areas during the late morning and early afternoon, but most locations remained predominantly dry. Temperatures climbed to approximately 32 to 33 degrees Celsius, while overnight lows are expected to remain around 24 to 25 degrees Celsius. Moderate easterly winds persisted across the islands, occasionally becoming gusty in exposed areas and near near passing showers. Sea conditions remained moderate, with offshore wave heights ranging between 2.0 and 2.5 meters, while sheltered coastal waters experienced waves between 1.0 and 1.5 meters. Overall conditions were warm, humid, and breezy. Tonight is expected to be partly cloudy with a few isolated showers developing during the late evening and overnight period. Warm and humid conditions will continue with moderate easterly winds of 15 to 20 knots, maintaining occasionally breezy conditions. Marine conditions are forecast to remain moderate with offshore seas between 2.0 and 2.5 meters and sheltered waters between 1.0 and 1.5 meters. Small craft operators and sea bathers should continue to exercise caution, particularly in offshore waters where seas may occasionally become choppy. Saturday is expected to begin with a mixture of sunshine and cloudiness, with a few scattered showers affecting parts of Trinidad and Tobago during the morning. As daytime heating increases, there is a moderate chance of additional afternoon showers and a slight possibility of an isolated thunderstorm in some areas despite the passing showers. Long periods of sunshine are also expected. Temperatures are forecast to reach approximately 32 to 33 degrees Celsius, with warm and humid conditions persisting throughout the day. Moderate easterly winds will continue, occasionally becoming gusty near showers. Sea conditions are expected to remain moderate with offshore wave heights between 2.0 and 2.5 meters and sheltered coastal waters between 1.0 and 1.5 meters. Overall, Saturday is expected to be warm, breezy, and partly sunny, with brief showers developing at times.
Let's take a look at some crime news. A woman accused of involvement in an alleged TT 20 million fraudulent check scheme has been granted bail in the sum of TT 6 million and ordered to surrender her passport pending the outcome of court proceedings. Jackie Watson, formerly Watson Vincent, appeared before Master Abraham on 22nd June 2026, where she was granted bail with surety. The matter was adjourned to 5th November 2026 for a status hearing, with a sufficiency hearing scheduled for the 10th of November. Watson was charged following an investigation by the Fraud Squad and the Special Investigations Unit into the deposit of a purported TT 20 million government check into an account held by a company at a commercial bank. Investigators alleged that the check, which appeared to have been issued by the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago, was later determined not to be genuine. Before the discrepancy was discovered, more than TT 8 million had reportedly been withdrawn or otherwise disposed of from the account. Following her arrest on 18th June and subsequent legal consultations, Watson was charged on 20th June with one count of obtaining money by false pretense involving TT 20 million and one count of money laundering. Officers of the St. Madeleine Police Station are continuing investigations into a home invasion incident which occurred at the Golconda Settlement, St. Madeleine, on Tuesday 23rd June at approximately 8:50 p.m. A 68-year-old female resident was at her home when a male suspect allegedly entered her property without permission. The suspect reportedly threatened the woman, resulting in a confrontation during which the homeowner armed herself and injured the suspect. Residents responded after an alarm was raised and assisted in detaining the suspect until police officers arrived. The suspect, a 57-year-old man of Golconda Settlement, was arrested by responding officers and conveyed to the San Fernando General Hospital for medical treatment. Investigations are being supervised by officers of the St. Madeleine Police Station and remain ongoing. 10 persons were arrested for firearms and quantities of ammunition and stolen items seized during anti-crime exercises conducted in the Central, North, Central, Northeastern and Northern North Divisions this week. In the Central Division, officers conducted an exercise between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. on Wednesday, 24th June in the Couva district, during which they seized one Glock pistol loaded with a magazine containing 17 rounds of ammunition. 6 suspects ages 25 to 34, all of the California district, were arrested during the exercise for various offenses, including robbery and aggravation, narcotics possession, and firearm-related offenses, which one man was held on
an outstanding warrant. The exercise was coordinated by Senior Superintendent Bagwan Dean. Meanwhile, officers of the Criminal Investigations Department, Criminal Records Office Special Operations Unit conducted an exercise between 12:30 p.m., during which they proceeded to Grant Street, Frederick Settlement, Caroni, where they found one pistol hidden in a bushy area. During the same exercise, 2 men were detained by officers under the Emergency Powers Regulation. Meanwhile, in the Arouca District, a CID and a North Central Division Task Force Area East personnel conducted an exercise between 10:45 a.m. and 1 p.m., during which they discovered one revolver loaded with 4 rounds of ammunition at an apartment in Oropoon Gardens. The exercise was initiated by Senior Superintendent Gift. In the Northern Eastern Division, Task Force officers conducted an Operation Steady Guard exercise between 3:30 and 6:30 p.m. During the exercise, the officers proceeded to Back Chain Street, Sawa, where they conducted a search which resulted in one Beretta pistol loaded with a magazine containing 15 rounds of ammunition being found. The exercise was spearheaded by Senior Superintendent Guy Allen. In the Northern North Division, 1 man was arrested in the Arima District relative to a report of housebreaking and larceny which occurred on June 23rd in the Dabadi District. Officers conducted an exercise between 4:45 p.m. and 7:45 p.m. on Tuesday, 23rd June, during which they proceeded to Mausika Road, where they arrested a 33-year-old man who was found to be in possession of several stolen items. The victim later positively identified the stolen items found in the suspect's possession. 6 suspects were arrested and 3 firearms and quantities of ammunition, narcotics, and contraband seized during ongoing state of emergency operations conducted in the Northern North, North Central, and Northeastern Divisions. In the North Central Division, Task Force officers of the Northern North Division conducted an exercise between 5:30 p.m. and 9 p.m. on Thursday, 25th June, during which they proceeded to the Tunapuna home of a male suspect. A search of the premises resulted in the discovery of 11 fully grown cannabis trees, 1.256 kilograms of cannabis, and 4 pieces of camouflage clothing. The suspect, who was present at the time of the search, was arrested in connection with the finds, and acting on intelligence, the officers then proceeded to the Maloney District, where they conducted a search of a bushy area which led to the discovery of one pistol loaded with a magazine containing 12 rounds of ammunition. Department CID Operations Unit, the St. Joseph CID, Tunapuna CID, Arouca CID, Guard and Emergency Branch, and the K9 Unit conducted an exercise between 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. on Thursday, 25th June, during which 4 suspects were arrested. One El Dorado man was held after being found in possession of one Beretta pistol loaded with 14 rounds of ammunition, while a Macoya man was held for cannabis possession. One Trinity man was held in connection with investigations into reports of malicious damage and threat to kill, while a Tunapuna man was arrested relative to housebreaking and larceny offences. In a separate exercise also conducted in the NCD, officers proceeded to the Arouca District, where they conducted a search of a warehouse at Garden Village. There they found quantities of illegal cigarettes and alcohol. A 60-year-old male suspect of Arouca was arrested in connection with the find, and in the Northeastern Division, Task Force officers proceeded to the Morva District between 2:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m., during which they conducted a search of an abandoned wooden structure. Investigations are ongoing into all of the above matters.
Recapping the headlines, Housing Minister fires back at opposition leader and MP Keith Scotland amid political row. Police Complaints Authority employee gunned down in targeted Charleville attack. A Grand Bazaar maintenance worker shot in early morning car park attack. Well, this is where we leave you for now. On behalf of the entire news team, I am Micah Demi. Thank you for joining us.